So, dear students, as we have done with all the lessons with you, now we are going into the revision part of the lesson for the first lesson, The Gentleman of the Jungle. Let us look at the summary of the lesson. Since it is revision, I am not going to explain to you in detail because already these lessons have been done to you. I am just giving you the summary and some additional question answers that will be helpful for you in point of your examination. The Gentleman of the Jungle is a fable written by Jomo Kenyatta, who was an African political leader and the first president of Kenya. This story reflects the attitude of Kikuyu people of Kenya toward European laws and commissions. I have already told you that Europeans came and started to colonize Africa. So, at that time, the people of Africa, especially Kenya people, the Kikuyu tribe, suffered. It was in the late 19th century the European powers divided Africa among themselves. This story begins in a context where an act of kindness misunderstood as weakness. So, one is going to do some kindness, act of kindness, but others feel that that is not kindness, that is weakness. Once an elephant made a friendship with a man. You know the story already. I am just going to repeat to you so that you may understand it better. One day, due to heavy thunderstorm, the elephant went to his friend for shelter, who is his friend man. The kind man offered to let the elephant put his trunk inside his hut, as he had room only for him and the trunk of the elephant. But the cunning elephant pushed his head inside and flung the man out. The man started to grumble and started to argue with his friend. Disturbed, the lion came roaring and sought to know why there was disturbance. The elephant replied that he had only been discussing with friend the possession of the little hut. The lion wanted to have peace and tranquility in his kingdom, so he commanded his ministers to appoint a commission of inquiry and report accordingly. The man was pleased by the sweet words from the king of jungle. The following elders were appointed to sit in the commission, that is Mr. Rhinoceros, Mr. Buffalo, Mr. Alligator, the Right Honorable Mr. Fox as chairman, and Mr. Leopard as secretary to the commission. But there was no one from the man's side. When he protested, he was told that there was no one from his side who was well educated to understand the intricacy of the jungle law. He was further assured that there was nothing to fear since the members of the commission were chosen by God and they were endowed with teeth and claws. So they would investigate the matter with greatest care. The commission sat to take the evidence. Mr. Elephant justified his act, saying that he had always regarded it as his duty to protect the interest of his friends, and that had caused the misunderstanding. He said that his friend had invited him to save his hut from being blown away by a hurricane. The elephant said that he considered it necessary to turn the undeveloped space to move to a more economic use by sitting in it. The elders of the jungle supported what Mr. Elephant had said. Then the man began to give his account. The commission cut him short and asked him if the underdeveloped space in his hut was occupied by anyone else before Mr. Elephant assumed his position. The man was bewildered. Finally, the commission gave its verdict. It was not on the expected lines of man. They concluded that the dispute had arisen through a misunderstanding due to the backwardness of man's ideas. They defended Mr. Elephant's actions, saying that he had fulfilled his sacred duty of protecting man's interests. They considered that the space should have been put to its most economic use. As man had not yet reached the stage of expansion, they arranged a compromise to suit both parties. Accordingly, Mr. Elephant would continue to occupy his hut, whereas the man was advised to look for a site to build another hut. The man did as suggested, for he feared the teeth and claws of the commission, but the same fate awaited. A new hut was built. Mr. Rhinoceros occupied. A royal commission was appointed only to give the same finding. This procedure went on till all were accommodated with new huts. The man by now had decided to adopt an effective method. When the huts already occupied by the jungle lords were beginning to decay, he built a bigger and better hut. As soon as the animals saw it, one by one came and occupied the space they found. They soon started to fight over their rights of penetration. The man found the perfect opportunity and set the hut on fire and burnt it to the ground, while the animals were all inside. He was finally relieved to find peace is costly, but it's worth the expense. Both you can, I hope you understood the summary because the lesson has been done to you. Now let us look into some of the questions. You can fool people for a time but not forever. Explain this statement in the context of the story. ಅಂದರೆ ಒಬ್ಬರನ್ನು ಒಂದು ಸಾರಿ ಮೂರ್ಖನನ್ನಾಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಆದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸರಿ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಹೌ ಡು ಯು ಸೇ? ಈ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ನೀವು ಇದನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ? ಹೌ ಡು ಯು ಡಿಫೆಂಡ್ ಇಟ್? The statement you can fool people for a time but not forever is a time tested maxim saying the protagonist in this story gives a fitting reply to those who think that he is gullible and can be easily fooled. ಅಂದರೆ ಈ ಸ್ಟೋರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಜನರು ಆ್ಯನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಏನಂದರೆ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ ತುಂಬ ವೀಕ್, ಅವನಿಗೆ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಫೂಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ. ಆದರೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾನೆ, ಅವನು ತುಂಬ ವೈಸಾಗಿ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಎಟ್ ದಿ ಎಂಡ್, ಇಸಂಟ್ ಇಟ್? ದ ಪ್ರೊಟಾಗನಿಸ್ಟ್ ಲಿವ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ಹಟ್ ಎಟ್ ದಿ ಎಡ್ಜ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಫಾರೆಸ್ಟ್. Once on a stormy day, one of his friends in the jungle, the elephant, approached him for shelter. It requested him to put his tongue inside the hut so that he could prevent it from getting wet in the rain. Same thing is repeated, the story, what's going to happen now at the end, why man is becoming wise, how he is using his cleverness. The man who sympathized with the elephant told him that his hut being small, there was only room for his trunk and himself. Therefore, he told the elephant to put its trunk in gently. However, the elephant took the man's tolerance as a sign of weakness and pushing its head inside the hut, threw the man out in the rain. The man started to grumble, started to mutter within himself, and the animals in the nearby forest gathered there to see what was the matter. There ensued a heated argument between the man and the elephant. On seeing the noise, the lion, the king of the forest, came along. Then he ordered an inquiry commission to be set up to examine their claims. Since there was no member from his side in the commission, the man lost his case, and he was asked to build a new hut to suit his needs. The man built another hut, which was forcibly occupied by the rhinoceros. This way the man built several huts one after the other, and all of his huts were forcibly taken by the elephant. ಇದು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಶೋ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಏನಂದರೆ ಮ್ಯಾನನ್ನು ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಾರಿ ಅವರು ಫೂಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾರಂತ. ಓಕೆ, ಫೈನಲಿ ದ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ ಥಾಟ್ ಓವರ್ ದಿಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಡೀಪ್ಲಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಹಿಟ್ ಅಪಾನ್ ಅ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾನ್. He realized that if he is careful enough, he can trap them in their own game. ಈಗ ಅವನು ಥಿಂಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಓಕೆ, now he is becoming clever. He built a bigger and better hut a little distance away. No sooner had the rhinoceros seen it than he came rushing in, only to find that the elephant had already become an inmate. Then all the other animals came in one by one and finally started fighting for a place inside the hut. While the animals were thus busy fighting, the man set the hut on fire as planned and burnt it to the ground. ಇದು ಅವನ ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾನ್, ಹೇಗೆ ಅವನು ಪ್ಲ್ಯಾನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ಹೇಗೆ ಸಕ್ಸಸ್ ಆಯ್ತಂತ. Along with the animals. Though the animals fooled the man many times, considering his tolerance as a weakness, the man outsmarted them eventually. ಅಂದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸರಿ ಅವನು ಫೂಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದವರು, ಆದರೆ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಮೊಮೆಂಟಿಗೆ ಫೂಲ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ. Thus the story undoubtedly proves that you can fool people for a time but not forever. ಯಾರನ್ನಾದರೂ ತುಂಬ ಸಾರಿ, ಒಮ್ಮೆ ಅಥವಾ 2 ಸಾರಿ ಫೂಲ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು, ಆದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಾರಿ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಲೈಫಲ್ಲಿ ಫೂಲ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. I think some question is missing here. Next question. The onslaught of the animals on the man time and again marks the European expansion, commenced with the ಕಮೆಂಟ್ ವಿತ್ ರೆಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಟು ದ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ. ಅಂದರೆ ಈ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಹೇಗೆ ಯುರೋಪಿಯನ್ರವರು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಆದರು, ತಮ್ಮ ಸಾಮ್ರಾಜ್ಯವನ್ನು ವಿಸ್ತರಣೆ ಮಾಡಿದರು ಎಂಬುದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತದೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಹೌ ಡು ಯು ಸೇ ದಟ್ this story is talking about European expansion? The Gentleman of the Jungle is a story by Omo Kenyatta. This story is both a fable and an allegory which symbolically reenacts the European colonization of Africa. ಓಕೆ, ಇದು ಒಂದು ಸಿಂಬಾಲಿಕಲಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಆ್ಯನಿಮಲ್ ಸಿಂಬಲನ್ನು ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸಿ ರೈಟರ್ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಹೇಗೆ ಯುರೋಪಿಯನ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ತಮ್ಮ ಸಾಮ್ರಾಜ್ಯವನ್ನು ಆಫ್ರಿಕಾದಲ್ಲಿ ವಿಸ್ತರಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಎಂಬುದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. The story has a simple plot. Once there lived a man in a little hut at the edge of the forest. An elephant which had made friends with him approached him for help on a stormy day. He requested him to let him put his trunk inside his hut so that he can shelter it from getting wet in the rain. Showing sympathy for the elephant, the man asked the elephant to put his trunk inside gently. But the elephant, soon after putting his trunk inside the hut, slowly pushed his head also inside and finally flung the man out. The man grumbled in protest and then ensued a heated argument between him and the elephant. On hearing the heated argument between the man and the elephant, the lion came roaring and made inquiries. The elephant told the lion that he had occupied the empty space in the man's hut only to save him from being blown away by the hurricane. The lion got a commission of inquiry appointed to examine their dispute. However, the commission had no human members to represent the man. When the man complained about it, they silenced him, saying that no one from his side was educated enough to understand the intricacy of jungle law. The commission gave out a biased judgment. Biased ಅಂದರೆ ಪಾರ್ಶಾಲಿಟಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಒಂದು ಜಡ್ಜ್ಮೆಂಟನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟರು. ಪಾರ್ಶಾಲಿಟಿ ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಮಾಡಿದರು? ಎಲಿಫೆಂಟ್, isn't it? You know it. Favoring the elephant and permitted the man to build another hut on other side. Since the man had no alternative, ಈಗ ಮ್ಯಾನಿಗೆ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ alternative, he has no alternative but go and build another hut. But to obey their orders, he built another hut. He obeyed and went to the place which they had given them, and he started to build a new hut. But no sooner had he built it than Mr. Rhinoceros charged in with his horn lowered and ordered the man to quit. He told the man to quit, means now they are going to occupy the hut one by one. Again another commission of inquiry was appointed to look into the matter. Once again a biased judgment favoring the rhinoceros was given. This procedure was repeated until all the animals were accommodated with new huts, and the man who had actually built the huts was expelled from the huts. So what does it show? How the European people treated African people, and they slowly, first they put in their trunk and salpa they started to steal the power, okay, overpower them slowly. Then one by one they started to occupy the full space of Africa and try to persecute the people those were inside, European people, and they started to expand their kingdom there. So I hope you understood the revision part of it. This question is, there's some question is missing. I think the question is sorry. So how did the how did the animals in the jungle considered tolerance of man as a weakness? ಅಂದರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಟಾಲರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದ, ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಸಹಿಷ್ಣುತೆ ಇದ್ದ, ಆದರೆ ಈ ಆ್ಯನಿಮಲ್ಸ್ ಏನಂತ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದರು, ಅದು ಅವನ ವೀಕ್ನೆಸ್ ಅಂತ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದರು. ಓಕೆ, ಈ ಕಾಂಟ್ ಡು ಎನಿಥಿಂಗ್ ಈಸ್ ಅ ಫೂಲ್ ದೇ ವರ್ ಥಿಂಕಿಂಗ್. ಹೌ ಈಸ್ ಇಟ್? ಸೊ ಯು ನೋ ದ ಎಂಟೈರ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ, isn't it? What happened? The man was very quiet. However much they fought, however much they were making partiality when they were settling the case, the man was very silent. He did whatever they said and everything he did. That is why the animals thought that whatever man is doing is because of his weakness. Because he is fool, he has no education, he has knowledge, no knowledge of any facts. That is why the man is doing it. That is what the entire thing you have to write if they ask you such question. So question can be asked in this lesson many and different ways. So you should be prepared to answer any kind of question that has been asked to you.